Let me call to order the special town council meeting for this Tuesday, October the 14th. Thank you all for being here today and for those who are looking online. Item number 2 on the agenda after the call to order is public comment. If you have a comment to make, please come forward. 2.5 minutes by ordinance, and the town administrator will let you know when your time is up. We ask everyone to please abide by it.
Good evening, Council. Mike Van Horn, Iron Bridge Drive. I just want to make a quick statement. I know everybody has probably seen, but I'm inviting all the candidates that are running for Mount Pleasant Town Council to open forum this coming Thursday from 6:30 until 9. So I appreciate spreading the word, letting all our residents know this is one of the last opportunities for them to get to meet the candidates. And so I look forward to seeing everyone there. And GM, thank you for everything you've done for the last 8 years. Thank you.
Next, please, for public comment. Anyone? All right, if there's no one, public comment is closed. Item 3 is executive session A for legal and contractual for review and discussion of economic development grant application, and B for personnel consideration of applications to serve on the Recreation Advisory Commission, for which there are 3 seats. Do we have a motion to go into executive session for the reasons stated? A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Please note that we have entered executive session. All right, we have reconvened from executive session. No votes were cast. No action was taken. Do we have any motions resulting from the information shared in executive session, please?
Mayor, I'd like to move to approve the economic incentives for Win 808 LLC as recommended by staff.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is on the Economic Development Grant application. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Second, personnel, please.
Mayor, I make a motion to reappoint Gregory Winch, Richard Phillips, and Greer Hanlon to the Recreation Advisory Commission.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the nominations, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Congratulations. We appreciate everyone's service. This moves us, that was post-executive session. This moves us to item number 5, recognition of Special Olympics golf champions from the North America Golf Championship in Pennsylvania and the Special Olympics Fall Games in Myrtle Beach.
Oh, we're still in executive. Oh, okay, good.
You know,
All right, Shelley, are you
we'll,
ready
we'll
for me?
face the way we want to face. Just, you know. As usual, I don't need to do much of an introduction. The team introduced themselves. So, Council, this is your Mount Pleasant Recreation Unified Golf Team, Mighty Mulligans. Yeah. So we're recognizing 2 different competitions they did this year. At the end of August, we had 9 golfers, 6 unified partners, coaches, and family attend the Special Olympics North America Golf Championship in Pennsylvania. There were 22 delegations or states, including Canada, and this is the team that represented not only Mount Pleasant, but the state of South Carolina. They came home with 4 fifth place, 3 bronze, 4 silvers, and 4 golds. Yeah. They played 3 different levels. There's a skills level where they get to compete in the skills of golf. So putting, driving, chipping. And then we had a number of teams do 9 holes alternate shot and a few teams do 18 holes alternate shot. And in Pennsylvania, they played 3 days in a row. So they worked hard. And then we had a number of our golfers attend the South Carolina Special Olympics Fall Games in Myrtle Beach in September. There's usually about 1,000 participants from South Carolina throughout the state in several sports. Mount Pleasant was represented by 12 golfers, 8 unified partners or coaches, 2 coaches, friends and family, and they brought back a medal count of 6 bronze, 3 silvers, and 11 gold medals. So we just want to thank you for taking the time to recognize this team and the hard work they do and how well they represent our town of Mount Pleasant. Thank you.
I love those shirts. All the photographers done? All right, thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Good to see you. Congratulations.
I know. No. All right, we'll let everybody get out. That completes item 5 on our agenda for this special council meeting. Item number 6 is to adjourn, and we will convene the monthly council meeting at 6 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. That.
Hey, I should have got something upstairs to make up. So, see, you see the guy right there in the pink, black guy in the pink right there? Yeah. His, try to see his mother, grandmother. I don't know if that's his mother or it's my raised me. It's my aunt, my main house. Okay, really? So I said, their son is a police officer. The big old guy.
Yeah.
I recognize him.
If everyone would make their way to their seats, we can get started, please. If everyone would please make their way to their seats and sit down, we will get started. Let me call to order the October 14th monthly meeting of Mount Pleasant Town Council. Before we get to the agenda, I have a couple of announcements and recognitions to make. I want to announce it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And in that vein, I welcome First Lady Suzette Haney, who is herself a survivor. And I thank you for all of that you do for the town. I also want to recognize Representative and Mrs. Joe Bustos, former member of this council and longtime residents of this town. Thank you for being here. And I want to point out that next month's meeting will be on Wednesday, November the 12th, because the 11th is Veterans Day, which we observe as a town now due to an action of this council. So our next meeting will be on Wednesday, November the 12th. So with that, those having been done, let's move to our prayer, which will be done by Chaplain Rob Dewey, and then the pledge by Mayor Pro Tem Whitley, who is here for her last meeting.
Let us pray. Lord, we just come to you and we do give you thanks and praise for all that you do here in this town. I thank you for the leadership that's here and for the citizens that are concerned that we can continue to make this even a better place to live. We thank you for those that do the research in breast cancer awareness. And we ask your special blessing on those that have to endure it. And remembering that you're with us as our families go through trials and tribulations. Ask you to bless this time to your honor and your glory. In your holy and blessed name we pray. Amen.
Whitley.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3 is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion, please?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the agenda is approved. Item number 4 is public hearings, awards, and presentations. I believe we have some longevity awards.
That's correct, sir.
All right, Chief Arnold.
Sergeant Gilliard, join me. Mayor and council members, it's my distinct privilege and honor to recognize Sergeant Jermaine Gilliard for 25 years of service. Sergeant Gilliard began his career in October of 2000 with Mount Pleasant Police Department. Over the past 25 years, he's advanced from police officer to senior officer, later serving as a field training officer, before earning his promotion to sergeant in 2021. In his current role, Sergeant Gilliard oversees our school resource officers, ensuring the safety and well-being of our students remain a top priority for the department. What truly sets Sergeant Gilliard apart is his deep and genuine connection with the community that he serves. Having lived at Mount Pleasant for decades and influenced countless students through his work in our schools, he is known and respected by people in every corner of this town. A former patrol teammate recalled being assigned to a neighborhood district early in his career and responding to several calls where residents were upset or hesitated to engage until Sergeant Gilliard arrived. The moment they saw them, the demeanor softened, he greeted them by name, and it was clear There was a mutual respect. Encounters like these exemplify community policing at its finest. Sergeant Gilliard's professionalism, steady leadership, and unwavering dedication to both the department and the families who entrust their children are a true credit to the town of Mount Pleasant. We sincerely thank him for many years of loyal service and enduring commitment to our community. Jermaine, thank you for 25 years. I look forward to many more.
All right. Mr. Administrator, is that the only one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Item number 5, approval of the minutes from the September 9th special and regular town council meetings, the September 22nd special town council meetings, and the August 2025 financial statement.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman, of all 3 meetings
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
and the financial statement.
What's that?
And the financial statement.
Yes, thank you. No Scrivener's errors?
No, not
Okay.
this month.
Great, thank you.
Our clerk did a great job.
All right, all in favor of approval of the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. All right, we come now to public comment tonight. I can see there are a lot of people here. When your name is called, please come forward. The town administrator will let you know when you have used up your 2.5 minutes. We ask that everyone be considerate of their fellow citizens and end your comments when your time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, we have several speakers. I'm going to call up 2 individuals at a time. The first actually is Mr. Rambo, Jake Rambo. And following Mr. Rambo, following Mr. Rambo will be Ray Dowd. If you would stand a few feet behind, please, sir. Thank you.
All right. Jake Rambo, 428 Shannon Drive. I want to take a moment to recognize Councilmember GM Whitley for, as she is here for her last meeting after 8 wonderful years of service to our town. It has really been a pleasure working with you, GM. There are many things I admire about you, but probably number one is that you always stand up for what you believe in. You don't get intimidated by anyone or anything. But yet, at the same time, you always treated everyone with respect and kindness, no matter the situation. You accomplished many things on this council. I respect your work as the chair of the planning committee and the work that you have done to lower the growth rate in this town and really get that under control. You did many things with the arts, all of the traffic boxes and oysters on a half shell, all look amazing. But of course, I cannot talk about your time on council without mentioning your mission of building the splash pad, which is now accomplished. So I think it's safe to say that you made a splash as a Mount Pleasant Town Council member. So thank you.
Okay, that was a special dispensation for our departing council member. Otherwise, we don't allow booing or applause during public comment.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
A little pressure going first, but I don't think I'll need the full 2.5 minutes. But just hearing that presentation for the sergeant who did 25 years on the Mount Pleasant Police Department and counting was heartening. But I can't see how anyone coming on the job or more recently on the job has a possibility of living here. So I'm just speaking in support of. I understand the raise is 4% that's in question. I think 40% would probably be what more appropriate, but obviously that's not going to happen. I know I'm a former first responder. I was able to retire with a living wage, and I really think it's
It would be great if the men and women who protect us, both police and fire, were able to do the same. Thank you.
Wendy Lockhart, followed by Julia Rader.
Good evening, council members. My name is Wendy Lockhart. I live at 1404 Chandler Road in Allendale within the 10-mile historic district. I worked alongside my neighbors to help establish the historic district, and I continue to fully support its purpose and protections. 15 years ago, when my husband and I purchased our property, we had the option to annex into the town of Mount Pleasant, as our land borders property that's already been annexed. We chose not to for several reasons. More recently, a lot adjacent to ours was sold, and the new owners approached us asking if we would consider annexing so that they could build the home that they wanted. Their plans had been rejected by the Historic Preservation Commission, and they knew that annexing would allow them to bypass that approval process. My husband and I prayerfully considered their request, but ultimately decided not to annex. Unfortunately, this decision has strained our relationship with those neighbors. What I'd like the council to consider tonight is this. What if it wasn't a neighbor, but a developer that made that same request, seeking annexation in a way to circumvent the rules and protections established by the HPC in our community? Imagine the kind of pressure that could come from a developer with millions of dollars at stake. I share this to urge the council to carefully consider the long-term implications of annexations that undermine the intent of the historic district. We ask that you work with us to preserve and protect our historic districts, not against them. Thank you for your time and your commitment to the community.
Good evening, council members. My name is Julia Rader. I live at 3536 East Higgins Drive. First of all, I have a lot of support for the first responders. I've lived in several towns that have much lower cost of living, and I already wondered how they managed to make ends meet, so I can't imagine how it is here or anywhere near here. Anyway, I'm here to add a little friendly pressure to the building of Rifle Range Park. I live in Hamlin Plantation, and we have a thriving tennis program. I'm on the amenities committee, so if you folks would like some advice on how to run some councils or committees, I've got a lot of experience. It's made me kind of the de facto tennis person to receive anyone who would like to play tennis but has nowhere to do it for USTA teams, especially north of the connector and east of Rifle Range. There is a lot of people who want to play racket sports, and we have maxed out everything. We had 35 teams in 2022 at Hamlin Plantation. We now have 54 teams. We used to send them to NPR when our residents' quotas were not met. NPR is full. They cannot take any more people. So we have been watching and very excited about this park, only to wonder why it wasn't being built and questioning it. TJ has been great. He's updated us, and we're really grateful now to see that it's moving forward again. We just want you to know we're very happy it's moving forward. We're very happy that it seems to be retaining all the courts. We ask you not to cut them when you're considering budget concerns. They will be full. I can guarantee it. We really appreciate you accommodating this ever-growing, ever-exploding sport. That's what makes Charleston so wonderful. And that's also why we have the 4th largest tennis organization in the whole country, even though we're nowhere near that big of a city. And I say we keep the momentum going. Thank you.
Brent Jewett, followed by John Langley.
Hey, Good evening. Thank you for your time. I'll be brief. I am a trauma surgeon at Trident Medical Center up in North Charleston. I did my training at MUSC. I live in a neighborhood called the Oaks, which is off Coleman. We have an extremely dangerous intersection. I've lived there for the last 8 years, and I'm here to help advocate for the community and help advocate for all the parents who have little ones that run around in that neighborhood. We have tried to mitigate risk by various measures, but I would love to see the addition of speed bumps, increased police presence at this intersection, and anything that we can do to mitigate risk. Three-way stop signs would be great. I see tragedies every day, all day. I saw it today. I see people get hit by cars. I'm a dad. That's my most important job. I have a 6-year-old daughter. She runs around in this neighborhood. She runs around this intersection. I'm not going to watch her be a tragedy. And I would love the council's consideration to help us with the process of installing speed bumps and additional police presence at stop signs. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm John Langley. I live at 302 Bennett Street in the village. I was very distressed to hear recently of some disparaging comments made about one of our town council members. Mike Tinkey is my neighbor and my friend and has been for over 40 years. Mike's life is one of the highest ethical standards. His integrity is impeachable, and his passion is serving the people of Mount Pleasant. If there was a misstep, I assure you it was unintentional, and it certainly does not rise to the level of defaming the character of one of our leading citizens. What distresses me even more is that the division and the incivility which has plagued our country seems to be seeping its way into the town where I have lived all my 76 years. This is unacceptable. If there are political differences, if there are candidates who oppose each other, fine. But let there be civil discourse. Let there be discussions one to another. We cannot let this seep into our town, which we all love. The incivility, the lack of respect must end now. Thank you.
Kevin Cunane, followed by Ellen Moore.
Good evening. Kevin Cunane, Dunes West. I'm here to speak on behalf of the first responders and the Rays, and we don't need more red tape. These people need raises. They've been underpaid for quite a long time. It's been basically 10 years of neglect to get where we are. The compensation study shows it's no longer just my opinion. Now we have a document to back it up. It's time to pay them. It's time to stop with the red tape and the nonsense and get them the money. Now, trying to use the money for housing or some other thing that's years out doesn't make much sense because you're going to keep losing them. The attrition rate is awful. These people work hard. They put their lives on the line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They should be respected and paid properly. Now, the second thing is the civility that's on the agenda. And it seems to me it's a common thread that keeps coming around. Every time Mr. Haney has an issue that he loses on, suddenly it pops onto the agenda that someone is being uncivil. And we'll fill the room with people to say, oh, we need a more civil council. I'm all for that. I was a victim of it. It went from, I think I could do it chronologically. Mr. Haney had a problem with Mr. Garch. Mr. Garch was called uncivil. Mark Smith was opposed to Haney. He was called uncivil. Linda Page, when they were on council together, she was being called uncivil and wasn't running the town in accordance with the local culture. Then I came on council. I was targeted by the mayor for years, including after I've been on council. For 5 years, there's still chit-chats that now came out in a recent discovery document that show Mr. Haney is still worried about when Mr. Cunane and his gang might show up to the meeting. Well, Mr. Cunane is here, and I will remain to be here But the common thread is not that they were all on council. It also includes Mr. O'Rourke, it includes Miss Landy. It includes now John Icafano. Welcome to the club. What did you do wrong? You crossed Haney on something. You dared to win a vote. You dared to get the people on your side. How dare you? You know, so the civility thing, I don't have to go after Mr. Tinky. Seems like a nice guy to me. He always has been. If you're targeting him with the civility thing, just make an apology for the note thing if that's what it's about. But the common thread is not that they're on council. It's that they bucked Mr. Haney on something. That's the person that should be looked at for why there's incivility. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Ellen Moore, and I live at 1469 Gunnison Street. First, I'd like to talk to you tonight about two topics. First, this action regarding the breach of decorum by a council member. While unfortunate, I'm sure that Mr. Tinky did not expect to behave in what I describe as an unprofessional and unethical manner, while also lacking civility. I believe debate and persuasion must occur openly in your discussions. As residents, we expect this and have elected you to represent our best interest ethically and honestly. This behavior we witnessed of Mr. Tinky trying to influence votes of another colleague during the council discussion and vote is inappropriate and in violation of our state ethics rules. I and many other residents unfortunately can't support you right now, Mr. Tinky, after just 6 months in your role as a council member. You've proven yourself to be an insider to the mayor, and we expect independence. We deserve better. Second, I want to address the elephant in the room. Mayor Haney posting official town business on his personal campaign social media sites that he knowingly pays someone to manage and elects to block certain town residents from viewing or seeing this town-related information. I am one of the many town residents the mayor has blocked from the campaign site Will Haney for Mayor that he also uses to post official town business. Specifically, the town of Mount Pleasant staff filmed the Mayor at the Market series throughout the summer, and then Mayor Haney or his designates posted these official videos on the mayor's proprietary campaign page. Many residents, however, have no access to this information, myself included, violating my First Amendment rights. So while acting in capacity as mayor, Mayor Haney inappropriately had our town staff working on his behalf, supporting his PR machine and campaign. Likely some of the 4 new communications staff he advocated to hire did this while ignoring the needs of and fairly compensating our first responders. Shameful. What the mayor has done appears to be both a violation of state ethics laws and another inexcusable example of Mayor Haney's abuse of power. You're putting our town and our residents at risk with this unethical behavior, and I expect this to be the last act we will see of your abuse of power, Mayor. I want to take a final moment to thank you, Ms. Whitley, for your 2 terms of service and willingness to stand up to what is right on behalf of our residents in Mount Pleasant. I wish you well in your next chapter in your life. Thank you.
Mike Goldstein, followed by Lucas Faust.
Hello, Town Council. Thank you for having us today. My name is Mike Goldstein. I'm at 1518 Lauren Day Way, and I'm also in the Oaks Marsh View. There was a previous comment this evening about the traffic calming measures. I've been in the community since 2017. I was one of the first residents, and my understanding is we've been in contact with the transportation department at the town for all these 8 years trying to get traffic calming measures. I have an 8-year-old son. He came home yesterday after riding his bike, said he was nearly hit, and we cannot have a situation in this community where our children are no longer safe. So I plead the town council to listen to what we're saying tonight. The traffic calming studies that were conducted should not be the only thing that you consider when our children are at risk. Thank you.
So, good evening, Mayor Haney and members of council. My name is Joe Faust, and this is my son, Lucas Faust. We live in the neighborhood as well, the Oaks at Marsh View. We come before you tonight to request your support for the addition of traffic calming measures for our community. A little bit of history for our community. When it was first built, there was 2 dead ends. The community was built by John Whelan and a cut-through street was kind of punched through to allow that. Since the town of Mount Pleasant has grown tremendously over the last 10 years or so, the volume of traffic has increased tremendously. And most recently it was evident there was a high-speed incident where a car ran through the community and plowed into mailboxes. So this is just kind of emblematic of the issues that have been going on. So we request your support. There's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. My kids, bike to school. Lots of kids that cut through. We have people that are here tonight that aren't even directly in our community, but come here and support as well. Thank you very much.
Chris Dukanchik, followed by Craig Russick.
Good evening, Mayor Haney, Town Council members. My name is Chris Dukanchik. I live on a Gate Bay Drive here in Mount Pleasant, and I spent 20 years in the fire service. I can say with confidence that most of you probably never spent one day, let alone step foot, in a firehouse. You'll never truly know what it's like to show up for a shift, climb onto that rig, and face the situations firefighters encounter every single day. Most people wake up, kiss their spouse and kids goodbye, go to work, knowing not to be home for dinner. Firefighters do the same, but deep down they know that goodbye might be their last. These men and women show up for work tired, sick, hurting physically and mentally because they know that their brothers and sisters are counting on them. They miss birthdays, games, holidays, milestones, not because they want to, because duty calls. For them, the firehouse is a family, a brotherhood. It's where they find strength when life outside feels heavy, because fire doesn't care if you're having a good day or bad day. One mistake, one moment of hesitation could cost a life. And if that life is your child trapped in a burning building, you want the most skilled, experienced, and dedicated firefighter coming through that door to get them. But their pay they currently receive, especially compared to neighboring departments, it's fair to ask, how long can we expect them to keep showing up, risking everything for less than what they deserve? Mount Pleasant is a proud and growing community. Our firefighters deserve to be compensated fairly, competitively, for their incredible responsibility they carry. And on a personal note, if you have the courage to vote no in supporting our firefighters, I doubt you'll ever have the courage to hold one of our teens' hands that wrapped him or herself around a tree and as they take their last breath, or have the courage to provide CPR on a neighbor that's pulled out of a burning building and pump their burnt chest to try to revive them. All we're asking for is to have the courage to vote yes. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Craig Russack, 3687 Cadorus Court. I'm currently running for town council, and I want to first start by saying thank you all for your service, including Mayor Haney. Thank you for your service. I know you have a tough job. That being said, our first responders have a much tougher job. I know this because I was one. These people get up every day and stand up for our community. They risk their lives for strangers, and then they have to go home and they have to face the same problems we all do. They have to figure out how to support their families, pay their bills. Now's the time we got to stand up for them. Pay our first responders the raises they deserve. In a world of defund the police, let's show everybody here that here in Mount Pleasant, we fund our police and our firefighters. Thank you very much for your time.
Kurt Thomas, followed by Bill Pessator.
Good afternoon, Council. Mayor Haney. I'm Kurt Thomas, Emma Lane here in Mount Pleasant. First of all, again, thank you for your time and your service. Ms. Whitley, thank you for your 2 terms as Councilwoman. I really appreciate all that you have done for our town. And I will just say this for everyone who's here. Obviously, I'm running for mayor for our town, and many of you may look at me and say, "Hey, Kurt, you don't quite look like you're attempting to be a politician." That's the whole point. I'm not. If anything, I am a leader, and I understand as a former first responder, this is what we wear when we're off duty, where we're trying to eat dinner with our families and where we're trying to relax before the next call. As a leader, I understand that we understand when our members are struggling. If anything, as a commander in the military, anytime someone or one of my troops have an issue, I bring it inside of my office and we do what's called UD blouse, or you take off your rank and we talk brother to brother, brother to sister, airman to airman. My only question as a leader is wondering, how did we get here? How did we reach this point where this afternoon there may be a spouse of a first responder who may even miss her dinner tonight because she has to come to speak on behalf of her husband who cannot be here and who is silenced from making his voice known tonight. So in essence, I'm here as a person who is going to speak up for a first responder in the absence of them, because I do intend to work for them within the next 30 days. When our first responders can't afford to live in the very town that they live in, that they swore to protect and serve, that is not progress. That is poor leadership. I really believe this isn't a budget issue. This is an issue where our value and our values have been misplaced for far too long. When a fire truck or a police officer leave their home, that should be counted as courage, not a financial struggle. Sir, thank you for your time.
Good evening, Bill Pesatore, 2259 Sandy Point Lane. I'm here speaking on behalf of the firefighters. Over the last 3 years, Mount Pleasant's fire department, through resignations, has lost 40 people with 171 years of service. You have a recruit class in now. When they come out, they don't have 171 years of service. That's a staggering number. Your department only has 132 people. A third of your people have left in 3 years. In 3 more years, you could be at 2/3 of your department gone. Anybody in the fire service would know, or any kind of first responder, that you want to retain people. You want their experience. I looked through this list of years of people that left for resignations, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. That's ridiculous. And why? Because we're not paying them. Well, why aren't we paying them? Generally, it costs about $47,400 for a firefighter for a year. So you lost 40. That's $1.9 million. You're voting tonight on 1.6. We could have used that 1.9 instead of hiring new people all over again. You got to learn how to retain your people. You pay a lot of money to train all these people, but you're not willing to pay them to retain them. You're losing out. They're going to other places, Charleston County, and they're going to Colleton County. If you ever looked up Colleton County's pay scale, a firefighter 2 only, $52,000 a year. Firefighter 2 EMT, $67,500. And a firefighter 2 paramedic, $89,000. You're not close to that. So when there's vacancies in those places, your guys are going there, and they're going to other places around here. There's a lot on the table tonight. I really hope you guys start thinking about how to prepare a plan for paying these people, not just tonight, in January, next July, and have a scale out there for them continuously to see where are we going to be at, what can I expect by doing my job correctly, which is what they're supposed to do, get you trained, and then see it down the road instead of going 3-4 years with nothing. Everything else changes money, but these guys' pay is not there. Thank you.
Ken Ayub, followed by David Spedden.
Good evening. My name is Ken Ayub. I live in Rivertown. I appreciate your time tonight. It seems that election time brings out the attack dogs in not only our elected officials, but also the residents of Mount Pleasant, all for the sake of winning an election or to keep someone else from winning. Grandstanding for the sake of drawing attention to oneself, and those who disagree are accused of doing the exact same thing that they themselves are doing. Residents being upset when they are blocked from someone's personal social media account and going to the news media to complain. I wonder if any of this would have occurred if it happened not to be an election. I find it disheartening that this body is actually having to consider a resolution pledging to practice and promote civility. I understand why this is being done. I've seen it with my own eyes. But I would hope that members of council would not need to publicly promise to behave. Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill had their differences, but when the time came and unity was demanded, they would share a beer or two, and they compromised, and they were united for the good of the country. To paraphrase John Lennon, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll realize this, and our town will live as one. I call on each of you to be a leader and not a grandstander or a follower. The four main qualities of good leader are empathy, understanding others, integrity, doing the right thing even when no one is watching, empowerment, guide rather than dictate and respect others, and resilience, being positive and help overcome setbacks. I charge each of you on council to be a leader. Now go out and share a beer or two and come back as 9 leaders. Thank you.
Point of order. Can I request this be submitted as part of the minutes?
Oh, yes, sir. And I can give that to the clerk after.
Okay, there's comments for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Hi, good evening. We're running out of time. It's time for this council to be more aggressive and call out the injustice of road to compromise. At the Transport Committee meeting last week, I was asked to comment on some of the slides about the impact of the road to compromise. And just to summarize quickly for the members that weren't there and for the audience, right now there's about 17,300 average daily vehicles on Highway 41 that pass through the Phillips community. On Park West Boulevard, the 2-lane section to Dune West Boulevard, there's 13,900. And on Dunes West, 9,500. Now, the county's plan is to move 30% more of that traffic off of 41 onto the 2-lane Park West and Dunes West Boulevard. What'll happen? Park West Boulevard will have over 20,000 cars a day in this residential road that wasn't designed to be a highway. And Dunes West Boulevard will jump up to 15,000. All the while on Highway 41, the volume will be down to 11,500. So when did residential roads become strong enough to handle highway traffic? And when were they determined that this was the best plan? I just don't know how you can justify that. It's reckless, it's sloppy, and it's unfair to the people that live there. So let's talk about social equity, environmental justice, because those words are used, but they're not practiced. The county stakeholder meeting on August 12, 2020 reflects the Phillips community had extensive outreach and meetings with that committee, which is good news. However, Park West and Dunes West, which are much more severely impacted by this direction, were completely ignored. They weren't engaged at all. Environmental justice states everyone, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income, has the right to the same environmental protections and benefits, as well as meaningful involvement in the policies that shape their communities. Well, that didn't happen for Park West and Dunes West. This process is biased, and that bias led to the road to compromise. This council must continue to send a clear public message that you reject the road to compromise. This needs to be one of your highest priorities. I've been an army of one doing research and speaking out. I need somebody to help and pick up the slack so we can stop the road to compromise. Talking to you as a collective is not moving the needle. Tonight, can someone volunteer to be assigned to be the champion for the community in this from the council? Don't fear the task. I'll walk with you on it and help you along the way, but we need that leadership. Thank you.
Sandy Quinkay, please forgive a mispronunciation, followed by David Mariner. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff. Thank you for listening to several of our residents. I'm a resident of Oaks at Marshview as well. I'm the president of the HOA. I come here this evening along with several of our other residents and other board members. We have a major speeding problem in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood has children, having lemonade stands. We have bikers that bike to Moultrie daily. Picture down there shows 10 all at once. We have hundreds of kids that come through. The history is we've been working with the city unsuccessfully. Their metrics do not work for the speed study. We are a cut-through street, beach traffic, tourists, new apartment building went up, added 600 more residents coming through. Personally, my golden retriever got hit. About a month ago, we had 2 moms and a baby almost get killed. The one mother pushed the other mother and baby out of the way. The car demolished our mailboxes, which could have been humans. Please note, these are the pictures of our mailboxes. I don't know what else has to happen, what other tragedies could happen in our neighborhood to get action, to get speed bumps. I don't know how many more misses we can have. It's going to be a tragedy. I brought a petition with me here tonight with the majority of our residents wanting this, keeping our kids, seniors, pets all safe. You have the power to make this happen. I ask that you put this issue on the agenda for the Transportation Committee to review it. I'd also like to just turn to my fellow neighbors, board members, and ask anybody who would like speed bumps at the Oaks at Marshview, please stand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, for giving me a voice. We understand the traffic committee has thresholds for providing speed bumps, but we feel that these studies indicate compliance under ideal circumstances and do not reflect daily experiences. Last night, we had 3 board members on the corner of our neighborhood. We saw a Tesla doing 40 miles an hour almost hit us. Sandy talked to you about these 2 young mothers with a child almost hit. Another man came to me last week, said he was almost hit by a car. Our neighborhood is a cut through from Rifle Range to Ben Sawyer. And we understand that we've not met the threshold of the traffic. We get it, we have it. But the bottom line is this does not reflect the real world experience. I'm a retired surgeon. I've got 40 years under my belt. I have attended kids, pedestrians, cyclists hit by cars. And you know, it's not the crushed skulls or the bleeding or the broken limbs. It's the spouse, it's the mother, the father that cried, that mourned. That's what I remember. It's not the internal bleeding. It's not the broken bones or the crushed skull. It's that. So I really implore you to understand that these traffic studies should be a framework and not an unbroken barrier. And so with really due respect, and again, I appreciate Mayor and council members giving our neighborhood a voice. Poor little Lucas is over there, wouldn't speak, he's shy. He was almost hit 5 times. Isn't that right, Lucas? But he didn't want to speak. He's showing up. Please look at it, give us consideration. Thank you very much.
Lisa Schnipke, followed by Val Mekta.
My name is Lisa Schnipke. I live at 185 Mossy Oak Way here in Mount Pleasant. Over the last few weeks, I've spoken out at town council and committee meetings supporting wage increases for fire and police. I believe that all town council members support increasing pay for first responders because they've all said so. But tonight, I also want to address the confrontation that occurred at last Monday's special town council meeting. In my opinion, Councilman Icofano's conduct was disgraceful. Each council member's conduct reflects on the entire body, and professionalism should be maintained at all times. I urge council members to reflect on your behavior and its impact on community trust and participation. If this conduct would have occurred on the other side of the dais, council members would have been outraged. If the town administrator would have walked over to the town attorney's desk, walked up behind him and grabbed his papers off his desk, waving them up in the air, it would have most likely been addressed by disciplinary action. Today, we have an opportunity to share with our elected leaders what we expect from them while they're conducting the business of governing. If the employees of the town are expected to treat their co-workers and the public with courtesy, respect, and professionalism, why then shouldn't we expect the same of those members we elect to serve? I don't believe that I have the right to come up behind any of you right now, grab your personal belongings, wave them around in front of the audience without facing any consequences. It is my opinion that the councilman exhibited misconduct, and I will consider this when it's time to vote in the upcoming election. I've reviewed the civility pledge that you'll be considering at tonight's meeting and believe it's a good start. Whether it's adopted or not, I hope that all members of council will remember that while you're conducting official town business, you're representing us all.
Hello, thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Val Mehta. I live at 4058 Blackmore Street in Hamlin, and I appreciate the opportunity to comment. I'm just piggybacking on what Julia mentioned earlier, but I would like for the record to say I support the first responders and civility. But we in Mount Pleasant are part of a really vast tennis network across the Low Country. And as you know, our community is painfully growing very fast. And with that is the same growth we see in tennis and outdoor racket sports, pickleball included. And, you know, it's really squeezing Mount Pleasant Rec right now. And we have budgeted for the expansion of Mount Pleasant Rec, which is very much needed. I mean, we have this thriving tennis center with like literally 2 bathrooms and a porta potty. And we appreciate resurfacing that you did for those courts in the spring, which had that huge crack in it. But we have to get moving with the building of the tennis center itself. And along with that comes the building of the rifle range park, because I also happen to live in Hamlin. You know, those 8 pickleball courts that you're going to build over there are very much needed. Our entire community is looking for a place for, our pickleball community is looking for a place to gather outside and join together. So between building both of those things, you would make a lot of people happy fairly easily compared to a lot of other issues that you are facing today. And we've already budgeted for them for their tax dollars. So just here with the friendly pressure and to thank you for all the work you do.
Stephen Rizzoni, followed by Lewis Horton.
Good evening. Stephen Rizzoni, 2331 Schuyler Drive. It's the first council meeting I attended this year. I realized this is like a circus going on here, man. I'm really, really surprised at the shenanigans that's happening in this beautiful town. I know some of you personally, and I respect you all very much, but this nonsense has got to stop. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous. Nobody wants to see it. I'm here primarily, though, to focus on the first responder pay. You've heard so much tonight. There's so many people here in support. I don't know why we have to come up here and actually ask of y'all to do this. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, this is a no-brainer. These people, as you know, do so much for the town. We heard about this neighborhood that's in jeopardy of having people, God forbid, killed or hurt by motor vehicles speeding through. Well, who speeds through? The police. They don't deserve a raise. They're doing their job very well, trying to help out. Somebody gets hit or killed, God forbid, in that neighborhood. Who's going to respond? The fire department. Do they deserve a raise? I'm very, very disappointed and very surprised that this has come to had to come to a vote and took this long to come to a vote. I've spoken in previous years about manpower that needs to be done. You can't have the manpower that's needed to fight a fire in this town when you can't keep people to fight a fire in this town because you're not paying them properly. It's utterly ridiculous. They're protecting you and I, putting their lives on the line, and they're making about $5 an hour more than somebody who works in a fast food restaurant. This is what you're asking of them? To do this and be committed? You actually should kind of be ashamed of yourselves to an extent that it had to go this far. And people have to publicly address this again and again for it to happen. I really, really pray that you have the integrity that you should by the people who elected you to vote yes. Vote yes for the people so they can protect their families, take care of their families, and also possibly, hopefully, live in this wonderful town that they protect. They can't even afford to live here. So again, I implore you and ask of you to vote yes on this very important thing. Thank you.
My name is Jimmy Bagwell. I live at 41 Vincent Drive here in Mount Pleasant. I have lived here. Before I go on, Lewis Horton did cede his time to me tonight, Mayor and Council. So I'm not on the agenda tonight, Eric, but I'm going to take his place if that's all right. Okay. I'm 77 years old. I've lived in town of Mount Pleasant all my life. I had the privilege of serving on town council from 1975 to 1988. I worked under 3 mayors, Groggy Darby, Johnny Dodds, and Dick Jones. I served as Mayor Pro Tem under Dick. We have always in this town taken care of our employees, our first responders, our fire department, our policemen. The reason that we are growing so well is because everybody wants to live in the best town in South Carolina. You guys are doing a great job. And one thing I do know is I know that you will take care of our first responders. You always have. And I urge you not to rush into a decision. 4%, they might need more than 4%. I think we ought to look at it. They may deserve 6% or more. We need to be on the same scale as the other towns and cities in the county. But I do know this. I know all the members of this town council, and I know that you will do the right thing. So think about it, deliberate on it, don't rush into anything. The other thing I'd like to say is that I've known Mike Tinkey for a very long time. I was surprised when Mike decided he wanted to be a town councilman at his ripe old age, and I'm very proud of him for stepping forward and serving this town. One thing I know is his integrity, and I'll echo Mr. Langley's statement. I know of no person with a higher integrity than Mike Tinkey. So I want to thank you all for letting us speak here tonight. I know there are worries in the town. There are problems in the town. There always has been, and there always will be. But I know that this town council and this mayor will take care of them. Thank you very much for your service and what you do for all of us. Thank you very much.
Last speaker I have signed up, Mr. Mayor, is Brittany Webb.
Hi, I'm Brittany Webb. I'm also part of the Oaks at Marshview neighborhood, and I'm here to advocate for the speed bumps in our neighborhood. I actually was one of the mothers who was spoken about by my neighbor Sandy that unfortunately was part of an accident that could have been a very serious disaster, as someone was recklessly driving through our neighborhood, went off the sidewalk, onto the grass, and within inches of hitting me and my 1-year-old daughter, but then instead hit the community mailboxes, which almost then hit us when they went flying. Luckily, a neighbor was there next to me and pushed us out of the way so that we didn't get hit by this car or the mailboxes. If our neighborhood had speed bumps, this could have slowed this person down. This could have solved the problem and could have helped us even further. Please help us by getting these speed bumps to keep our neighborhood and our children safe.
Was that the last who signed up?
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone who did not have the ability to sign up who would like to speak? Please come forward if you weren't here. You get 2.5 minutes. Please give your name and address.
Hello, my name is Brianna Harmon. I live at 3606 Deer Creek Road, 29466. I would like to speak tonight on agenda item 9B, the possible action on implementing a 4% wage adjustment for the first responders. This also segues into item 10A and B, addressing a breach of decorum and promoting civility. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend this meeting in person last week, so I am extremely grateful that our meetings are recorded and they are available for the public viewing pleasure on YouTube. Upon watching the video, I kept thinking, wow, what a profound example of the saying, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bull. Baffled, I watched as our chief of police and our fire chief made themselves available all day to attend hours of committee meetings as well as a last minute special town council meeting. I watched as our chiefs, along with the town administrators, took valuable time to answer questions and help to present and explain the wage study to council members and the mayor. To me, watching it, it became very clear pretty quickly that the issue on the table, which was the 4% wage increase for our first responders, was a pretty minimal ask for our town leaders to approve. However, instead of pushing aside their hurt egos and exercising humility in order to put public safety ahead of politics, our elected officials decided to waste more time, energy, and resources by pushing this simple but important decision back to committees for review. I feel like our leadership team exposed their true colors in this moment, and it proved to me that they cannot stand on business. We have an opportunity starting next week with early voting at Seacoast to put together a team that does what's right in that exact moment, even if nobody is watching when faced with a similar situation. Please, let's put the politics aside and implement the first responders' 4% wage increase as soon as possible. They deserve so much more than that. Thank you.
Good evening, Sarah Garner, 1343 Winifred Street. I'd like to say to Chief Arnold, Chief Mixon, and Mr. Weesey, thank you to your departments for all that y'all do for the town of Mount Pleasant. We know that we live in the safest town in the state. We're not afraid, so know that first and foremost. I want to say that I'm all in favor of the 4% for our guys. They deserve it. Everybody deserves it, really, but they certainly deserve it. However, I must say how it's being handled doesn't seem consistent with the policies and procedures that I know of the budgetary process. Each year in November, not November 3rd or 4th, but somewhere in there, every department is given the opportunity to have mid-year budget adjustments, to scrub their budgets, say, you know, we need this and this, transfer a line item. But it doesn't seem that that's being followed this year, and it's very confusing. So with the recent tax increase, the extra funds, now someone council want to immediately spend the money. They don't want to go through the process. It's a process, y'all. Everything goes to Eric and the CFO. It's scrubbed, it's cleaned, and if it's good, they approve it. And we all know that our public service people deserve a 4% increase. We know that. And I don't think any of them are going to quit tomorrow if y'all don't vote on it tonight. You just saw 25 years for Jermaine. 25 years. He could have gone. He could have gone with Carl Ritchie. He didn't. So I'm asking you all to not vote for this 4% tonight, to let it go through the process of a mid-year budget adjustment where it's scrubbed and cleaned and really looked at for all the departments, not just these 3 departments, but for all the departments. They deserve it too. So I ask y'all to vote no, and thank you very much.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Council. My name is Karen Messina. I live at 3618 Spindrift Drive in Mount Pleasant, and I am the wife of a retired firefighter. I've lived it. I came here tonight to, like so many others, express my extreme disappointment in the recent decision to deny our beloved first responders a raise that barely fights inflation, a raise that wouldn't even get them to top pay. Listening to others, a raise that would put them at mid-pay compared to the surrounding departments. I had to bring this up. I recently came across a quote describing what it was like to be an underpaid first responder in America. And it goes like this, quote, "We're getting buried alive and we're being told to be thankful for the dirt," end quote. That stings. I sat at home many a night waiting for my husband to get home. And like others had said, you just never knew. My main question here tonight, I think, is why? Why can't we do this for them? I think that if we're expecting so much from them in their service and we keep disrespecting their value with improper compensation, it just says a lot. We need to incentivize them. There's no incentive here for them to stay on the job. And right now, I believe I only know a small handful, looking around the room, of cops and fire that can actually afford to live in this town. And again, that stings. I want to live in this town knowing that it's feels safe, but shows respect for those who make it that way. And I urge y'all to take a second look at that decision, kindly. Not out of pressure, but simply out of principle. And let Mount Pleasant be known for taking care of all these people that take care of us. They deserve better than another no. Thank you so much.
How you doing? Lawrence Tisdale, 1535 Trumpington Street, Mount Pleasant. I just wanted to echo it. That's a hard act to follow because she said from the heart, and I can't even imagine being in her shoes, having to wait for her husband to come home. Maybe he doesn't come home. And we're out here debating over a 4% raise. This is disgraceful. I mean, these guys and girls deserve so much more than a 4% raise. And I emailed the mayor, and Mayor, thank you very much for emailing me right back. Appreciate your response. But this has to be priority number one. It shouldn't be 4%. It should be more than that. I mean, these are men and women that are running into a burning building, shots fired, while I'm running out. And while the rest of us are running out, they're going into it. They're sitting on crime scenes. They're putting their lives on the line for us, and we're guys, we have to vote on this, and this has to be a unanimous yes. We have a recruitment and retention problem in this town. We can't be losing years and years of seniority. These people are our professionals. We should treat them as such. Please, please, I implore you, please vote for this tonight, and let's send a resounding yes to these brave men and women. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Brian Derrickson from 239 Bayview Drive. I respect, do not admire each of your positions because it's a tough position to be in. We've heard it here tonight. There's no doubt that the first responders deserve a 4 to 6%, maybe even more raise. But I also heard from just about everybody that walked up here that you can't afford to live in this town. So here's where everything boils down to. It's about money. So what I'm asking you all to do is get creative. We live in like a tourist destination, like tax hotels, figure out some way to generate income without it hitting taxpayers. Because I think everyone walked and got their mail yesterday or Saturday and got their new bill, right? That's another $500 a month. I got 4 kids. Like now I'm squeezed out of the town. So of course they deserve it, but y'all got to get creative about how we do this. It's all about the money. That's what this all boils down to. They definitely deserve it. But figure out a way, a hotel tax, first responder hotel tax, figure it out. Stop bickering with each other. It cannot be that difficult. Get along with each other. I love the guy said, share a beer, chill out, let's go. We got the best town. We got tourists finding it all over the place. Tax them. They will pay $3 on every hotel bill, I promise. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Angela M. Singleton, 3822 Tomascue Lane. I'm with the 10 Mile Historic Association and the 10 Mile Historic Preservation Committee. I'm speaking in opposition of annexing any parcels from the 10 Mile Historic District. Each parcel that is removed from the district weakens the district. It will increase the number of property owners who will request to be annexed into the town because they want higher density for more development. If you continue annexing the parcels in, there won't be anything left for the current historic district because they will have been annexed in mostly from those who are pulling in because they had to sign a contract that they agreed to be annexed into the town if their property becomes sustainable to public sewer. They also works to destroy the district in the Gullah Geechee community, also referred to as the African American settlement communities. The community suffered a huge cultural and historic loss prior to becoming a historic district when a large parcel was subdivided to create a 100-lot major subdivision now known as Bees Crossing. Now there's 13 additional acres that we are looking at losing to annex into the town of Mount Pleasant. We are asking that you deny the annex request. Also, I just want you guys to understand how important this is to the 10 Mile community. We want everything to remain the same. For years on the left side of 17 has remained different from the right side of 17. We want it to remain one house per 3 acre. We do not want to annex that portion into Mount Pleasant. Please, please, I ask you to listen to the people that live in that community and what they want. Thank you. God bless you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caitlin Zura. I'm a resident of Dunes West, 2369 Darts Cove Way. I'm a wife and a mother of 3 children. I want to speak about something that became very real for my family this year and the critical importance of funding and supporting our emergency responders. On May 1st, my son Tanner was the victim of a brutal vehicular attack while attending school on Sullivan's Island. Tanner was hit and subsequently pinned underneath the car. It took well-trained and well-equipped emergency responders to safely extract him from the scene. And by the grace of God, Tanner survived this horrific event. The man who attacked the school fled the scene, triggering a 5-hour manhunt, which involved multiple jurisdictions, including Sullivan's Island, Isle of Palms, and Mount Pleasant. Our first responders from every nearby agency came together seamlessly. They coordinated across town, shared information, and searched until the suspect was captured. That night, I realized something every parent should understand. Our safety depends on these men and women, and their ability to respond effectively depends on us. Every piece of equipment, every hour of training, every additional patrol car or rescue unit, it all matters. These are not luxuries, these are lifelines. Mount Pleasant has grown rapidly, and with that growth comes new challenges. More traffic, more schools, more emergencies, and more lives depending on quick, coordinated responses. Our police, fire, and EMS are stretched thin, yet they continue to deliver with excellence. But we can't expect them to carry that burden without support and resources to match the demand. I'm asking the council to ensure competitive wages and support for emergency responders are a top priority, not just in time of crisis, but in day-to-day operations. They stand for us when it matters most. Now it's our turn to stand for them. Lastly, I want to remind the mayor and council that you all represent and serve the members of our community, which includes first responders. You are expected to lead with honesty and integrity, which means doing the right thing even when no one's watching. When operating behind closed doors, the public may not be aware of your actions, but God most certainly is. So remember that as you carry out your duties serving the people of Mount Pleasant. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Quick. I live at 1502 Village Square, and I have lived in Mount Pleasant since 1988. I came as a reporter, and I covered the first meetings in the Darby building. That's how long I've been here. So I have a little perspective. And I think Ken Ayub, who also has perspective, nailed it. The reason we're having all this division and controversy is because there's an election coming up and people want division and they want to cleave our community to get apart. And I urge our community not to do that. I am 100% confident that the police and fire department staffers are going to get their raise. Normally it would be during the budget process. That's the way it's always been, just like Sarah mentioned. Never seen it done differently, but here we are. It's election time, and so we've got to find things to divide people and gig people, and I too am very disappointed with Councilman Iacofano's behavior in all the years that I've covered Mount Pleasant. That started with Richard Jones, Cheryl Woods Flowers, Harry Hallman, and then didn't cover these folks, but I was still very involved. None of that. Never seen anything like that. Never seen anybody stand up and grab somebody's notes and wave it in the air. Never. Should be ashamed. Should be ashamed. And that's not the first time you've done this. And I'm very disappointed because I had higher hopes in you. This town is very expensive for everybody to live in. I couldn't live here now if I moved here. No way. No way. I bet a lot of the sanitation workers need a raise too. What about them? Are we going to pay them $100,000 a year? I mean, come on, y'all. Let's be realistic. Mount Pleasant, everybody wants to move here. I've had 3 houses on my block sell for more than $1 million in cash in the past 2 years. There's no competing with that. We can't compete with that. We'll give them raises, but we got to be happy with paying them the best we can. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jenny Desart, 1549 Red Tide Road. First of all, thank you to all of you for all the time that you've given, especially you, Ms. Whitley. I am here to ask you to vote yes for the 4% increase for public safety workers. I looked at the proposal given, and I think that the two most important parts of this was increasing the number of workers and the 4%, and that is currently missing. When speaking to people and looking at things, I keep hearing about how Mount Pleasant is low in crime and fires, but public safety workers do so much more than this. They're the first line response to car accidents, and Consumer Affairs just ranked Charleston number 10 in the nation for accidents. Medical emergencies, non-medical emergencies, domestic disputes. There are so many other things that these people do every day and risk their lives every day to do it. And I think it's an important core service that needs to be adequately addressed. And also, I'd like for you to look at why and how this is happening so we can prevent it from happening again, because we can always learn from these things and we can always grow from it. And personally, I'd like to say thank you to all the public safety workers. I see you and I appreciate you, so thank you.
Hi, my name's Deidre Kennedy. I live on Cliffwood Drive. Since we're talking about civility tonight, I wanted to formally request that this council hold council members Brownstein and Icofano accountable for their misuse of office, abuse of process, and conduct unbecoming of public officials. On August 27th, my property was damaged for the second time by a contractor working next door. A plumber dug a 4-foot deep trench inside the critical root zone of my protected trees, a clear violation of town ordinance and potentially a felony under state law. The sewer line wasn't on town permitted plans and there was no mandated tree protection in place. The plumber was the only person on site when I confronted him about the damage, yet later that day, the builder's wife sent a letter to this council based entirely on hearsay, accusing me of misconduct on my own property and demanding that I be removed from the tree task force. Councilmember Brownstein immediately advanced that complaint to the HR committee and had John Icofano, the chair, add it to the August 29th agenda. Did they defend the resident whose property was severely damaged? No. Did they ensure fairness and due process? No. They sided with a builder without facts, without investigation, and without ever hearing from me. Then came the proper executive session meetings that were held without a valid FOIA purpose, followed by false statements to the press that damaged my name and reputation. For two people who claim to value transparency, your actions were the opposite. Fast forward to the last 3 weeks, these same council members have used our first responders as political pawns. In Icofano, your actions towards Mike Tinkey were unacceptable. They were threatening and scary. This town deserves better. The first responders deserve better, and there's a process for it. They deserve more than 4%, but it has to go through the right process. And stop staging this political theater. We all just want to be friends and get along. Stop attacking each other. Okay, thanks.
Good evening, Perry Road, 2004 Brickhill Parkway. First, I'd like to thank everybody in advance for their vote, hopefully tonight, to increase our first responders' wages. I'd also really hope y'all will consider the people in the Oaks and Marshview and bring that to Transportation Committee. I understand there has to be procedures in place to look at those traffic numbers, but I think they've shown a lot of actual real-life circumstances of what's going on in that area and what needs to be addressed. Members of council have a duty to their conscience and exercise independent judgment in all matters before them. There must never be an environment in which pressure, intimidation, or coercion by any member of council is used to influence or direct somebody on council's votes. Such behavior undermines the integrity of the decision-making process, erodes public confidence in our local government. Every member of council must be accountable for upholding the principles of open, transparent, and ethical governance that our residents rightly expect and deserve. Furthermore, no member of council should ever feel intimidated or discouraged from calling out unethical behavior when it occurs. I appreciate the council will be discussing this matter tonight. Under the new business, my hope is discussion will be honest, open, and focused on strengthening our ethical standards rather than being used for political purposes. On my last note tonight, the one important thing, Councilwoman Whitley, thank you for your years of dedication to the people of this town. Thank you for always being responsive to emails and phone calls. That means a great deal to the people you serve when you respond to them. Thank you for being open-minded and listening to your constituents, and thank you for taking their account into view when you're making your decisions. Most of all, thank you for consistently voting your conscience and doing what you think is right for the people of Mount Pleasant. I wish you all the best.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Varble. I live at 2996 Riverwood Drive. A bold-faced lie is an obvious, shameless lie often used to describe a particularly brazen and frustrating falsehood. In the state of South Carolina, defamation law allows a civil claim for damages resulting from a false statement that harms a person's reputation, which includes both written and spoken statements. To prove defamation, a plaintiff must show the statement was false, such as a bold-faced lie, published to a third party, such as putting a comment on Facebook, and made with at least negligent fault and resulted in damages. So why do I say all this? Because here's the lie, folks. The mayor of our town yesterday on a Facebook thread from a Post and Courier article that I was quoted in on Monday, October 13th, said in this Facebook thread, and I'm reading this verbatim, what the reporter conveniently left out is that one of the people in the story was banned from our campaign page for going so far in his harassment of a female page follower, commenter, that he found and used her personal phone number to call and harass her. We consider that creepy behavior and will protect our page followers from it. The reporter knew of this, but apparently it didn't fit the narrative. Well, the reason it probably didn't fit the narrative is because it's a lie. That's completely false. Number two, it creates defamation. The question is whether or not the mayor was acting in his capacity as mayor or not, and whether or not he created legal exposure for the town of Mount Pleasant. That's what I've been consulting with my attorney about as a result of this. As a private citizen, I am absolutely appalled by the conduct of the mayor. And I'm glad we're talking about conduct this evening, because if you want to talk about inappropriate conduct, start with that. Accusing me of harassment without any facts or evidence, based upon hearsay, creating a potential situation of defamation and creating legal exposure potentially for the entire town, which you have a fiduciary responsibility to protect. I've held elected office before. I'm an executive for a corporation. I don't have time for this kind of nonsense, and I am ashamed to say that this is something that is completely unacceptable. Thank you.
Hello, Council. Mayor Jeremy Manchester here. Good evening. 3133 Pignatelli Crescent. I'm back here again. I've got the 5 parcels. That's me. Ultimate builder here. Got the attorney and everything right here, ready to build like a whole town on 12 acres. No, I'm just obviously kidding. I've got 4. I've had 3 of you guys out there. Really appreciate you guys coming out, seeing the water, seeing the land. But I've got 5 parcels, 4 average under an acre apiece. I've got 1 big parcel that's 9 acres. 4 of the acres are water. The last time I was here, there was some concern that I asked for CC, which was 12,500 square feet per, like if I subdivided, and everybody was afraid that we were going to build 60 homes or whatever. I said, hey, I'm not worried about that. One of the guys said, hey, go back and ask for one acre per house because it's past 6:30, and in the Charleston meeting right now, they're asking for 1 acre per house plus an ADU with unlimited space. And then on the other side of the road, they're asking for literally on the other side of the road. They're still asking for 3 homes per acre. So if you have a 0.86 lot, you can still cut it in half. There's no plan on slowing down the 10 mile. There's no plan at all. The reason why I know that is in the meetings I've said, hey, if you're going to do one on one side of the house, one on one side of the road, do it on the other. But anyways, went into planning and zoning, asked for 1 acre. You guys don't have that. So I just said, well, what's the next thing you have? And they were looking, they're like, well, we have RR, which is 20,000 square feet per lot. If I decided to cut it in half, I pay, we've got 5 lots, 1 mobile home, pay roughly 30,000 a year in taxes on it. I mean, it's just like, that's unsustainable just to keep paying that kind of money. I'd really like to be in the town. I've got 3 boys, 6, 8, 10. Eventually I'd like to give, some of the property to them. Please annex me in, even if you can't give me the zoning that I'm requesting. If we need to change it to RR, we can do that later. I'm just asking to get into the town. I live here, my business is here, and would really appreciate it. Thank you much.
Good evening. I'm Joe Bustos, 649 King Street here in Mount Pleasant. I too, like my fellow Moultrie High School graduates, grew up here in Mount Pleasant, and it's been the honor of my life. I was on town council for 13 years, but in addition to that, I spent 24 years in the Army. I retired as lieutenant colonel. I was commander many times, and I never took my rank off to speak to a soldier. We always understood who we were, and that's what generates respect. Also, I was a police officer in the city of Charleston for 6 years, so I understand, the needs of police officers. I understand what they've done, what they do. I'm also your state representative for about half of Mount Pleasant, Sullivan's Island, and Isle of Palms. And I just want to say, following all this, please don't take this windfall of money that you've received and let it become a political football. It is an election year, and it can become ugly. I understand that. And there's passion in politics. I understand that very well. But let this be a reasoned decision. If there's a budget process, put the money in reserve, hold it, then use the normal process, because you don't want to turn your first responders into political footballs. You just don't want to do that. You want the system to be followed, and when they get that raise, they know that it was part of the deliberative process. With that, I appreciate everything you do, everything you've done, and I think Mount Pleasant is a good town, and that comes from a lot of experience around the town, the state, and the country. So thank you all for everything you do, but don't let your passion for politics turn things into political footballs. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Fran White, a member of the 10 Mile Neighborhood Association Board. As mentioned previously, prior to the 10 Mile Historic District being established, a large parcel was subdivided to create East Crossing. The lot sizes and home styles are noticeably different from the patterns and home architecture found in the community. That has the high potential to happen with new annexations. Additionally, how many of the people living in those developments can say that they know the history of the people living next door to them or a couple of houses down from them? That they've lived there for 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years, or that they actually plan to settle there and live there and spend the rest of their lives there. Surprisingly, many may say that they moved there because it's quiet country living. Some have now moved because it's getting too busy in the community. If you annex more parcels, you will directly contribute to more dismantling of 10 Mile. As we work with the county to strengthen the protections for the historic district, the overlay will better reflect the dimensional and intensity character of the lots. The area character appraisal will reflect the architecture that's characteristic of the district. It is not just the dimensional and intensity standards that matter. It's the entire package. The standards, the home architectures, all factor in. We're asking that you deny the annexation of any parcel that's part of the 10 Mile Historic District and that will be part of the 10 Mile Overlay District. There are plans to slow down growth. That's what we have been working on this whole time. But it doesn't help when people do things to undermine the community. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Waring Howe. I live at 118 Friend Street. We have upcoming elections. I feel some additional information is in order. Candidate Perry Rourke, he sells two products which are harmful and addictive, and he doesn't want voters to know what he does. One is nicotine vaping. The other is Kratom, Kratom, which is an opiate-like substance that's led to countless overdoses and even death. Let that sink in. Another candidate, John Icofano, Perry Rourke's campaign partner. Only some people know this, but he's currently suing two ladies. One, a retired school teacher, and this has led to public funds, yes, public funds being expended to provide legal representation for his fellow town council members and at least one member of a town commission. Just ask Pam Ireland. We have an upcoming agenda item, and I want to take that up. Members of governmental bodies across the country have been urging fellow members to vote in certain ways since the beginning. That practice comes in the form of trading votes, setting up help in the future from another member, and suddenly threatening to change one's vote as a matter of strategy, and so on. I've been on and worked on such bodies, both state and local. It's called trying to reach a consensus, furthering the process towards hopefully a resolution, a result. Things have to get done, not stay stuck. At times, urging a fellow member is actually helping that member by reminding the other of what he's indicated he wanted to do, as in the Santos, Tinky, and Icofano scenario. By now, we've all seen the video. Mike Tinky is by nature a low-key, non-confrontational, courteous person. Icofano's actions were rude, offensive, unprofessional, bullying, and if I had been Mike, I would have taken them as physically threatening, as would be natural. Codes of conduct are promulgated for this very kind of inexcusable behavior. I mean, is this what we desire in our members of council? Furthermore, observe the audacity, the hypocrisy. A month ago, Icofano voted to remove a member from a town commission. Unprecedented. A volunteer position for her actions in an entirely private situation.
Sir.
On the other hand, Icofano's reprehensible conduct vis-a-vis Tinky.
Please finish, sir. Time's up, sir.
He did that in his public capacity.
Deanna Canine, 3032 River Vista Way. So we heard a lot of words tonight: honesty, respect. How about truth? That's what everybody here wants. That's what John did when he held up the sign. He showed us the truth of what was happening. The truth is, if the building burned down, there would be an emergency plan to rebuild. The fire department is burning down. My husband has talked about this for 10 years, not for his personal gain, because he cares about people. He cares about lives. Our neighbor lost their life this year. They were old. Maybe it could have been prevented, maybe not. We've heard citizens from all across the town talking about their problem with traffic, and it's being ignored. The mayor can't even have the decency to look up. You're disgusting. And with that, I'll just say this. Another truth. We have a state rep here. 18K, an increase. He voted for himself, but he's trying to discourage you from a 4% increase for our first responders. I don't think so. We have another citizen who gets up here and is preaching about decorum. He just did a totally inappropriate thing for the second time, and nobody here did anything about it, and you didn't gavel him. He's not allowed to call out a private citizen. Mr. Rock is a private citizen. He deserves some respect, too. It doesn't go one way. Respect goes both ways. And there's a lot of people in one area of town that seem to want to come up here and lecture others about respect and decorum. Well, how about showing us some? Because it's not happening. The last thing I'll say is when you approach, someone wrote to Mr. Brownstein in a public forum, and I think it's important for everybody to hear this. He said, this person was a first responder, either current or previous, I don't know. He said, when you approached me last year while I was working at a certain festival and listened to what I had to say and how I felt, I took a lot away from that, especially since our mayor was also 15 feet away and he didn't even come shake our hands. Let that sink in.
Hi, Michelle Stress, 545 Veranda View. Yowza, I wasn't even going to say anything. I don't understand why everyone's coming up here asking for you all to support the 4%. You all did. Every single one of you wanted to vote for the increase in the first responders. I think that maybe people didn't know that or didn't understand that. And I think that from my perspective, it was just because that we wanted so some of you wanted to take time to deliberate and to really look at where that money was going. So I think that, again, people have said that this is, it's because it's an election year. And I think that that's true. There was this huge push to get this in front of the public, to have this hot button topic to create division. And so I just, for those that remain, every single one of you agreed to do that. So I hope that clarifies a few things. And then, Mr. Arcofano, if you were so concerned about first responders, if this was really your issue, why didn't you push? We all just received our tax bills, and that tax bill we're now paying hundreds more dollars for the $50 million park that only was voted in by 700 votes. Let's reappropriate that money. There seems to be a whole room of people here that would love to see $50 million be reappropriated for the first responders, which I would too. So rather than plow down, oh God, scared me. So rather than plow down all the trees for a park that only really helps a few people, and sorry for some tennis players out there, let's give it to the first responders. Heck, 170 of them with $50 million. Imagine they could live here. They could buy the houses next door to David Quick. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who did not get a chance to sign up?
Good evening, Council. Mike Van Horn, Iron Bridge Drive. I'd like you for the vision for a moment that you need help from any of our first responders, no matter what the reason. How would you like it if they said no because you said no during your recent votes? Votes to support them completely, not sitting there pushing things to another meeting. Now I'd like you to imagine former Council Thomasia Stokes Marshall is standing next to you. Each of you know her. She was a guiding light throughout Mount Pleasant. She served as 17 years of Mount Pleasant Town Council, also as the Mayor Pro Tem. She had over 20 years of experience with the New York Police Department. You always knew where you stood with her. Be the leaders and vote yes with our first responders. Enough of the grandstanding. Pushing this back and forth to committee after committee after committee. We know where the money needs to go. Get it there. Next thing I'd like to talk about is item 10A, under new business. Mayor, you're the chairperson. It's your responsibility to hold quorum in this meeting at all times. It's your job to sit there and model respect and also courtesy. We heard people talk about being blocked. I'm one of those individuals that you've blocked, whether it be personal page, campaign page, or any of your friends. I'm asking you to block my address. I do not want to see any more of your literature show up at my doorstep. Thank you.
All right, that will close public comment. I think we spent well over an hour, close to an hour and a half on that. That closes item number 6. Let's move to item number 7, consent agenda items. There are no such items for this meeting. Item 8, planning new business. There are no planning new business items. 8B is final reading of an ordinance providing for the annexation of 2 parcels consisting of approximately 1.36 acres.
Move to approve items B, 1, and 2.
Second.
Right, the motion is to approve items B, 1, and 2. We have a motion and a second. We are in discussion. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. What?
No.
Okay, hang on. I didn't call for that yet, please. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries.
Its final readings of ordinances 25047 and 25048.
This brings us to item number 3. This is the annexation of the 11.85 acres we heard comments about tonight, located along Highway 17.
Move to approve.
To approve?
Yep. Second.
We have a move to approve and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
I made a motion.
Yeah, it's your motion. You first.
So, as a general rule, I really don't vote against annexations, and there's a reason for that. So, over the course of this town's history, the county council has typically actually been more developer friendly than the town of Mount Pleasant, and parcels that have been denied annexation have then been given more density under the county. And in addition to that, once we, as we all know, once we deny the annexation, Mount Pleasant Waterworks has to provide them with the water and sewer, which enables the construction of the homes anyway. Furthermore, we can annex this property, and then once it's finally annexed, at the very next meeting, we can have it requested to zone to the rural residential. And nothing will take place in those 2 or 3 months. Plans and stuff can't even get approved by then. So we can annex this property, bring it into the town of Mount Pleasant, just like the applicant wants. They will pay town taxes. They will be under town authority. And then we subsequently, over the next couple of months, can rezone it in a manner that matches the county's zoning. Otherwise, again, they can get water and sewer. They can wait for a more developer-friendly county council to come forth in a future election, and it will be built. A new neighborhood will be built there without any town authority or zoning.
Mr. Tinky.
I think it's precipitous. The county's meeting next week or the week after next on the historic district. They're looking at it very carefully. They've been doing this for 3 years. For us to jump in front of that process and in disrespect to the residents of the community, I think is inappropriate. If that had happened
in our neighborhood I live in, the old village, and you'd say, let's just jump in front of that and not listen to the people there. These are county residents, not town residents, but if it was a town, people would show up in masses, and they're showing up in masses as county residents. This is a historic area that goes back to the 1800s. They've been meeting on this for 3 years. They're meeting again next week and the week after next to go through this. They're at the end of the process. We voted on a moratorium to match the moratorium of the county. That goes in July of 2026. We need to respect folks that have been there and have the culture, the history that is so important that makes up our community. It's critical, I think, to do that. Anything less than that is a disrespect to the process that the county is already going through. I think it's important for us to work together with the county as we're doing, to in lockstep with them to try to mirror that. We can get that RR, but it'll come through a process of doing that through the county and do it that way. So I would vote no to the annexation.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chapman.
Mayor, could we ask our planning director what we have done recently to place the town of Mount Pleasant in the same type of historic preservation for areas that are interested in coming in, but that we want to keep historic, that we want to recognize what the county has done. And then potentially, when we get to the section on zoning, maybe we can have some further discussion. But I'd like to have the audience hear what we have done on this council to recognize what the county has done and to show that we are, in fact, wanting to do the same thing. So, Ms. Reed, could you do that, please?
Yes, sir, of course. So as Councilman Tinky said, the community, along with county staff and town staff has been involved also, has been working on this plan for the last 3 years. It's actually before County Council tonight for first reading. As you know, they'll have 3 readings. But to support their efforts while they went through their process, you all adopted the moratorium to have the same moratorium in place that the county has in place, which will expire, I think, July of 2026. And so we should know, again, this plan has been drafted, it's been changed. It goes to the council tonight for first reading with some amendments from their planning commission. So I think we will have, and we're involved in that process and we're watching it. So I think we'll know after tonight, we'll have a good idea, but obviously it'll go for 2 more readings of what they intend to adopt. And I do know one of those is the density right now in this area that we're talking about is 1 unit per 3 acres. They have considered, and they are considering, an amendment to that which would allow 1 unit per 1 acre. Again, that is not what's currently there. And so I think from staff's perspective, we want to kind of see what the county does. We don't want to be reactionary, because I will say that in the county right now, it is rural residential. And the county's rural residential is 1 unit per 3 acres. The town's rural residential is 3 units per 1 acre. So for it to be comparable to what's in the county, we would need to have it zoned what's called rural conservation. To get that zoning, this would need to be denied, or it would need to be withdrawn, and they would need to reapply for that zoning. Should the county, I know that we're watching it and see what happens with this process, but should the county amend it and that plan go through with a 1 per 1, then the town, we would certainly need to look at creating a district similar to that. But we also want to see what they're going to adopt with their overlay. So we want to do it holistically and not piecemeal. And so that's kind of where we're at. I know we have the moratorium in place that you all passed. So just to kind of that stopgap so that we can see what they end up adopting, and then we can move forward with whatever you all decide is appropriate. So.
And so, Mayor, as Mr. Rambo so eloquently said, annexation is a critical issue for the town and also for waterworks. If we turn down the annexation, they can automatically go and get water and sewer anyway. So my suggestion is that we go forward with the annexation and then deny the zoning, in which case they'll have to come back to us for the rezoning, and we will be in a better position to recognize what should happen there in terms of zoning.
Mr. Brownstein.
Yes, Ms. Reed, if we accept the annexation and deny the zoning, what zoning does this come in as?
It comes in as rural residential in the town, which is 3 units per acre, which is the same as what they're requesting, community conservation. Both of those districts in the town are 3 units per 1 acre.
Okay. My concern is that we're voting to annex land that's in a historic designation on the very same night that County Council is conducting their first reading of the historic overlay. I have met with Mr. Manchester, and I do appreciate his candor, and I do believe he sincerely wants to come into the town of Mount Pleasant. My concern is that we're putting the cart before the horse. We don't know exactly what that county overlay is going to entail, not only from the zoning, but the design standards and a whole host of details. So I just think it's, unfortunately, it's just coming to us at an awkward time when so much is in flux. My inclination is to vote to deny annexation at this point. But I do hope that if this is denied, that he would reapply once there's some more clarity on the county designation.
Mr. Rambo.
Just a clarification, Mr. Pagliarini. We've deferred this, I think, several times. When do we reach the point where a decision has to be made?
I believe as Ms. Reed is placed up on the screen, October 23rd.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Where?
So
Oh, so
October
this is the
20th.
last.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a
I was
question.
going to try to defer, but obviously we can't defer it. But again, once a developer's dream is to get denied annexation, because then they can develop in the county, get the water and sewer, pay no town impact fees, no town taxes. Once you deny that annexation, there's no motivation for the developer to come back to the town. I think we could deal with the zoning after getting them annexed.
Mr. Akafana.
Can you, so, Ms. Reed, thank you. RR is, I don't mean to yell in there, sorry. RR in the town is 3
units per 1 acre.
3 to 1, and CC is
3
1
units
to 3.
per 1 acre.
3 units per 1 acre.
The difference is the minimum lot size.
Okay.
So CC is a minimum 12,500 square feet.
Mhm.
Rural residential is minimum 30,000 square feet. So
And RC,
an RC is 1 unit per 3 acres.
okay. And then we don't have a 1-to-1.
We don't.
Okay, but I've seen zoning change at the will of council at all times. Can't you annex somebody in and then create the 1-to-1 and put it on the planning commission and run it through the planning commission and to planning committee to 1-to-1?
Council can do that if they wish.
I'm not on planning commission, but I'm just saying, because Mr. Rambo brings up a good point. You say deny the annexation and then they can come back. How many people get denied annexation and then actually ever come back because they get water sewer? And then with the county, they don't. We're not 100% sure what protection the county will add, and I'm about protecting the community out there. I don't know why planning committee doesn't go ahead and put a 1-to-1 on there and run them through it. Good.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Hyatt.
Mr. Rambo mentioned if we annex, then we can rezone it later. Doesn't it have to come from the property owner to rezone, or would it be RR and we just redefine RR?
Council can do a couple things. Council can initiate
the
rezoning of a property. Council can create a new zoning district or change the density of an existing one. You can do any of those things. So absolutely.
Okay, so he wouldn't have to make the request. We could do it ourselves. Okay.
You could you could follow along with the county, right?
Correct.
As they go through, you could follow along as planning.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
under the, if we were to deny, and he stayed in the county on the 13 acres with 1 per 3, how many units could he build?
In the county, 1 per 3, he's at almost 12 acres. I guess he wouldn't be able to maximize it, but 1 per 3, 12. So that's, it depends too if he had infrastructure and those
So
sorts
3
of
or 4.
things. Probably.
3 or 4. So if he
Yeah.
if he then has the designation which he has now and would be given, and he has 13 and it can be 3 per acre, one would deduce he would have how many?
Well, 3 units per acre, but you'd have to figure in the infrastructure and all of those things as well. So, but
So
it would be
maximum
significantly.
maximum of 39 or somewhere between 20 and 30. So big difference between that and 4. And with the risk, if we were not to deny that, if we deny it, we know we're protecting the density that they're asking for. We also know the county is still in the deliberation of it. They've been doing this for 3 years. We should give them the time to do it so we're not guessing about it, in my personal opinion, because once we take the vote from 4 units per 13 acres, or it could be as many as 39 or 20 to 39, it's a dramatic difference. If you go out there and you take time and look at the land, it's rural land. That's the character that they want to keep it. I grew up in the county. I know there's a big difference between that and the density we have someplace else. And it's an historic area. It's an historic overlay. It's not just the zoning, it's the historic character. And that means the architecture, that means the culture, that means the history, that means all those things. It's not a cut and dried zoning deal. It's tradition. It's the history that makes up the Low Country. So for that reason, I'll be voting to deny.
All right. Yes, sir.
I hate to do this, but I mean, we're putting a lot of faith in the same county council that has for 10, 15, however many years drugged their feet on Highway 41, created an absolutely horrible plan that we try to give feedback on, and they turn our nose up at us. We're putting a lot of faith in county council. I don't believe I have that same faith in county council. And I think what we're missing is that we can initiate rezoning. This council can initiate rezoning. The property owner doesn't have to initiate it. We can initiate it, and we can match the zoning, and we can match that density. So those scary numbers, we can take care of that.
Okay, we're playing pickleball now. Yes, sir.
Just I was just asking him. We have the gentleman who owns the land in the audience there. I wonder if he can't come up and at least tell us what he would like to do with it, so we really can hear from him.
You have that privilege as a council member if you want to ask him up.
Hey guys, back again. I've got big plans for that property. I want to grow 4-pound bass. I want my 3 boys, 6, 8, and 10, to be able to ride around the trails in the back, cut through the grass. I mean, literally, I've owned the property for 3 years, haven't come to the county or Mount Pleasant. Everybody, I have no plans, other than I planted 40 trees in the front and just keep mowing my lawn. So I wish I had a plan. I really don't. I just want to be in the town. That's what it comes down to. So sorry, Gary.
That's okay.
I don't. I just want to fish and have a good time and not really worry about a whole lot. So that's kind of what it comes down to. Ride my side by side around. So, all right.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I have a
Yes.
question. Do we have an overlay out there? Do we follow the county's overlay?
No,
I mean,
sir.
for respect for the community out there, if we match the county's zoning as it was coming in, if this council matched the zoning that the county was coming in. And if this council respected the tradition and created an overlay out there, I'm not on planning as stated, but once he gets water and sewer, he's not going to attempt to come into the town. And I don't know that they trust that we'll respect their traditions or their land, but I wonder if this council will. And if the council can put the zoning and stuff in place that will protect them and protect their community, and that's what commitment then that I would ask for this council, while still being able to bring them into the town of Mount Pleasant. Give them a promise tonight, annex them in. I mean, we're here to do business.
Anyone else before we vote? The motion is to approve the annexation. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mr. Iacofano.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Iacofano votes yes. Mr. Rambo.
Yes.
Mr. Rambo votes yes. Mr. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Santos votes yes. Mr. Tinky.
No.
Mr. Tinky votes no. Miss Whitley.
Yes.
Miss Whitley votes yes. Mr. Brownstein.
No.
Mr. Brownstein votes no. Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Chapman votes yes. Miss Hyatt.
Yes.
Miss Hyatt votes yes. Mayor Haney.
No.
Mayor Haney votes no.
So by 6-3, the annexation is approved.
Reading of ordinance number 25033.
Move to deny on item 4.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to deny on the zoning. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Iacofano.
We've got a lot to do now to help that community and to uphold the county and follow the county in that community and uphold the traditions of the overlay. So that's what I will say. And yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Brownstein.
So by denying, this comes in as rural residential.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would just like to respectfully, say that I think that's a great deal of optimism that, potentially we're going to follow what the county does when we take this action. I think by taking this annexation and the zoning in, we've sowed a great deal of distrust or perhaps further illustrated the mistrust that the folks in our settlement communities have towards us. And I think it's going to be increasingly difficult to get them to trust us after the action that our council's taking tonight.
Okay, so if the motion to deny passes, it does not come in as community conservation, which is 3 houses per acre. It comes in as rural conservation. Is that
No, it comes in as rural residential.
residential? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, which is how many per acre?
It is the same density, but larger lot size. So it's still 3 units per acre.
Okay.
But the minimum lot size would be 30,000 square feet instead of 12,500.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Tinky.
What protections can we put into place now that the first vote has happened? Because in my estimation, it's been precipitous and it sets a precedent. So therefore, there'll be people lining up and they'll say, well, they got it, so we got it. And we know they're there. We know they're there from my time working on the planning commission. They're lined up. And so that's the dangerous precedent that we've set. And so what can we do and how quickly can we do it to protect and mirror, if we choose to do so, what the county's doing?
Well, I think we're doing it now by watching to see what the county adopts with their overlay. Mr. Iacofano, you had a comment. So the overlay does not exist. The 10 Mile is a historic district. What county council is considering tonight is a zoning overlay district. So we're watching that process. But as far as conditioning, any conditions, this is final reading. You can't condition a zoning, but we'll certainly be following that process and then bringing those updates to planning committee and to town council to get direction on how you want to proceed.
And in all respect to the homeowner there, and I hear what you're saying, I trust what you're saying is the truth. But if it was someone else, if it was a developer and they wanted to take this action tonight and they immediately wanted to come to town staff and said, I've got it, let me get started. Would there be any defense for you to get started on the process? No, right? Attorney?
You've stated it correctly, sir.
Okay. So that's the crux of the matter. So we'll just have to start as fast as we can, I guess.
All right, the motion is to deny the CC zoning. Is everybody clear on the motion? So a yes vote is to deny. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Rambo.
Yes.
Mr. Rambo votes yes. Mr. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Santos votes yes. Mr. Tinky.
Yes.
Mr. Tinky votes yes. Miss Whitley.
Yes.
Miss Whitley votes yes. Mr. Brownstein.
Yes.
Mr. Brownstein votes yes. Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Chapman votes yes. Miss Hyatt.
Yes.
Miss Hyatt votes yes. Mr. Icofano.
Yes.
Mr. Icofano votes yes. Mayor Haney.
Yes.
Mayor Haney votes yes.
So by unanimous vote, the zoning is denied. So that completes items 3 and 4. This moves us to section 9 of the agenda. A is Accommodation Tax Advisory Committee funding recommendations. I believe that's Mr. Icofano.
Yes, sir. So the funding requests out of the fiscal year 2025-2026 funded contributions, accommodations, tax funds. The committee met to make recommendations for 11 funding requests for which committee received applications. The current balance is $127,500. Council has received a summary of the requests, which you can see on the screen, and the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee's recommendation for funding 11 requests totaling $127,500. If council accepts the committee's recommendations, this will leave a zero balance. As such, I move that the council approves the funding recommendations totaling $127,500. I can go down the list, or you can see the list. It's quite a long list. I can repeat it all if you like. Charleston Race Week, committee is recommending $11,500. Low Country Oyster Festival, $8,500.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
Second. Okay. Second. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. On the Southeastern Wildlife Exhibition, were there questions asked about how much, or if anything, from Southeastern Wildlife will be in Mount Pleasant?
They took our recommendations that we gave to have things in Mount Pleasant, and are going to continue to do so, I believe. Yes, I think they have 3 events.
I don't know the exact number, but they did listen to us.
They listened, and
like a lot of
they're
other
going
things.
to. Actually, it was well attended. I think it was at the by the Motley Rice Building. I think is where they had the. Is that?
That's right.
Yeah, they had
Yes,
it
sir.
by the Motley Rice. They believe they had 3 events there.
Okay.
Well attended, and they plan on continuing to do so. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Brownstein.
Yes, I'd like to respectfully request that we handle item 8, the Rice Planters Amateur Golf Tournament, separately. The reason I say that is I understand that the state tacitly allows us to fund nonprofits, but when you look at how other cities and towns deal with this, they exclusively fund nonprofits. My understanding is that group is not a registered nonprofit, and I'm philosophically opposed to providing tax money to a for-profit entity.
Let me just ask on a point of order. The motion is to accept it as done, so that would have to be an amendment to the motion that was made, right?
Correct, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Could I amend my motion?
You can, ma'am, or Mr. Brownstein.
Either
can.
way.
Why don't I amend my motion? I'll amend my motion to remove the Rice Planters Amateur Golf. If
Okay.
someone would amend their
Who
second.
did the second? Do you
I don't.
object?
I don't want to remove my second from the original motion.
Okay.
I'll move to amend to remove item 8 from consideration in the motion.
All right. There's a motion. Is there a second? The chair will second that for the sake of discussion. Do we have documentation of that assertion? Or did that not come before the ATAX committee?
That they are a for-profit entity.
Yes.
Yeah, and they acknowledge that they
are a for-profit.
They were in the past a 501c3, but they've let it lapse over change of ownership, and they are now a for-profit entity. They do meet the state requirements for under the statute of basically driving heads and beds. They meet the spirit of the accommodations tax law, but they are the only for-profit entity in this list.
But what happened was this was brought to council 7 months ago to match the state's the town's ordinance was not matching the state's ordinance, and then it was brought to council. I think voted through unanimously. I believe
not unanimously.
It was. Oh,
no.
maybe it was 8-1. Anyone else? To match the state's. Sorry about that, Daniel. To match the state's actual their law that they set as well.
Our ordinance gives preference to nonprofits, but it's basically silent on the for-profit.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Rambo.
My only point would be just because they haven't gone through the process, which is an expensive process, so they let their 501c3 lapse. It's an expensive process in legal fees and things to renew that 501c3. Just because they're run under a for-profit doesn't mean that event actually makes a profit. It loses money. So just because it's a for-profit entity, it does not, running an event does not mean that somebody's lining their pockets with that money. That's the only point I'll make.
And I
support the tournament. It's been in Mount Pleasant for a long time.
Yeah, I'd like
to.
I'd like to support the tournament too. I do understand the distinction, and I understand why. Having known the tournament and the people, it has historic value for the town. I know the research because I did the economic impact of golf research in 1992, and we kept it on until recently. So when the golfers come to town, they come in twice as large groups. They spend twice as much time here. They spend a ton of money, and a lot of them end up living here because they just love the area so much. And many of these have gone on to play in the pros, and so I would support it because I think it's good for the economy.
I'm with Mr. Brownstein on this. I think if you're running a nonprofit and you want public tax dollars for that purpose, you need to remove the profit motive out of that. So I will be voting for this amendment. All right, are we ready to vote? Mr. Chapman?
I'm going to let Ms. Hyde go, and then I have something to say.
I was just going to ask for the record. This takes place at Snee Farm, doesn't it? Right. I just wanted for the record so that everybody knew where this tournament takes place, right in the heart of town. So, thank you.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes, sir. The ATAX money, when it was developed, was specifically developed by the state legislature because places like Charleston wanted to take funds from hotels and from visitors to help show that there was an expense to having them come here. The ATAX money was separated specifically to put heads in beds in hotels. And I can assure you that the Rice Planners Amateur Golf Tournament does that expensively for the town. In other words, they're putting people in the hotels, which helps give us back money. They're putting people in restaurants, which gives us back money from the restaurants. So just to say that because they are not a 501c3, I would like to match some of these other 501c3s to see how many heads and beds they do. And I would like to know if that information was presented to the committee.
Yes, sir. It was presented.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
All right, we're on the we are on the amendment about removing the one there for 3,000 to the Rice Planters Amateur Golf Tournament. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? The amendment, yeah, please clarify what exactly your amendment said we would do with this. Treat it separately or totally eliminate it?
Yes, sir. Y'all can treat it separately if you'd like. I was seeking to remove it from the list.
Okay,
for
that's
this
my
one.
understanding. Okay, all in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
All right, the noes seem to have it. All right. Oh, me, yes. I just have a question. For instance, I don't think anybody puts more heads and beds over the entire Low Country than the Cooper River Bridge Run. And they're only getting $25,000. I have the list. Charleston and North Charleston give way more than that. And we're not even giving them that. We're reducing that to $23,000. And if somebody could help me understand why we would do that. And then Charleston Race Week is a international event that gets international publicity. And they're not even getting half of what they're asking. And I wish somebody could shed light on that, please.
Sure, Mr. Mayor. The council allots $150,000 every year for the accommodations tax advisory committee. There was $127,500 left in this bucket, and they basically tried to give everybody something and reduce it where they could. So, 25 is customarily the largest amount that the committee has given, and it was basically a discussion item to tweak it.
Okay, so my question would be the Mount Pleasant Symphony. I mean, do we think people travel from all around the world like they do to the Bridge Run and Charleston Race Week to come to? I mean, I love the symphony and I'm a huge supporter of the arts, but I've never met anybody that traveled here from Australia or South Africa or England or Italy like they do to the Bridge Run and Charleston Race Week to come hear the Mount Pleasant Symphony. So I'm really struggling with this.
I don't want to misquote it, but I think it was 2 hotel rooms for the Charleston Symphony, for the Mount Pleasant Symphony. But the ATAC also it has an arts component to it to support the arts. What I've challenged the committee to do, and I'm your liaison. I don't really vote on the committee. I've challenged them to just come up with a simple formula, which is here's how much money you have. Here's how many heads and beds are being put in out of all of everybody, and whatever your percentage is your percentage, which would be a very simple formula. But we do need to make sure that we support the arts as well. As a matter of fact, the Color of Music Festival, which is brand new, beautiful brochures, and I've seen some of their work. I would encourage everybody to go to. They're multi-city. They're holding events here, Charleston, and so on. So it is to make sure that we encourage the arts as well. And the list is growing. I said that on the last time we did this. The list is growing, and the demand is getting greater. So
there is a cultural arts component to the application. So there's the heads and beds driven, which was like Councilman Chapman said, I went back and read some of the legislative intent. It was all about hotels, but
we understand what this looks like to international events like Charleston Race Week, which we got from Charleston to Mount Pleasant. Everybody knows it's headquartered at the Yorktown now, and the Cooper River Bridge Run, which has people coming from all over the world to run in. And we're giving a local symphony every penny they ask for, and we're reducing the Bridge Run and others from just $25,000. We're not giving them what they ask for, but we're giving arts groups a hefty sum when we know that they are not major magnets yet for bringing heads and beds, and that's why I really don't plan to vote for this.
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to entertain a motion with you as well, we can move those. We have the power to move those funds. I mean, we can.
Well,
I mean, you can. This is a suggestion from ATAX. This is not a. It's not set in stone.
Yeah. Well,
this
maybe
council
if we
has the ability to move funds, and you can take 2,500 from the symphony, and
I
don't
want to get into I'm just going to be a no vote. Maybe hopefully it'll go back and they can reapportion it, or we can go speak to them. But I don't want to get in a bidding contest tonight. I remember when we used to do that at council before I was mayor, and it was I don't think it was good for the organizations or the town to sort of bid on who gets cut what. But I think maybe if we decline this tonight, they can come back with a better recommendation. That would be my wish.
Mayor, because I'm new, how did we arrive at the amount of money that the town gives out of and it generally, you get it based on the amount of heads and beds and the ATAX that comes in. How do we determine the amount of money that we get?
I believe it was set. I mean, it was set years ago, and it's not a percentage of ATAX that comes in. We get ATAX dollars, and then these ATAX dollars aren't generally. They're not a. I don't believe they're a general reflection of the ATAX dollars we get. Where is she here tonight?
It's a standard amount.
It's coming from. It comes from the state. It's actually it's very odd, right?
So Mayor, I would suggest that I've done this before, and we had $0 for golf. When I started, we ended up with $4.5 million because we could show the amount of admissions tax. And so I think we should lobby for more money from admissions tax, and we should make that a priority. It's not for discussion tonight.
No, let's stick to what we got.
I believe it comes from the state. It's just the state decides. They've got some super formula.
Yes. Okay. All right. We still have not voted on. No, we did vote on the amendment. That's right, and we lost. All right. So now the motion is to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. All right. So the motion carries 8-1. Me. Okay. That concludes item A. Item B, Human Resources Committee, possible action on implementing a 4% wage adjustment for first responders.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any discussion?
Did you want me to read this, or I guess we have a motion to approve? So
It's up to you.
No, I mean, at the October 8th, 2025 special HR committee meeting, the HR committee unanimously passed a motion recommending to full council the approval and immediate implementation of a 4% wage adjustment for police and fire public safety positions as recommended in phase 2 of the wage study. I appreciate the first responders and the work that they do. I feel that the rest of council does as well. I look forward to moving forward after this vote as a strong council supporting public safety, and I hope that each one of you will join me in that as well.
Thank you. I have a couple of things. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to clarify. So there's a lot been said about, it's only that it's only a 4% raise. So this is an extra 4% in addition to phase 1 of the wage study, which increased a number of the wage bands as well as added education incentives. And when you add all of that together, there's not a consistent percentage because in phase 1 of the wage study, some of the newer, less experienced police officers and firefighters were a little bit lower, and so there were more adjustments made based on all of that. So, but it is significantly more than just a 4% increase. This is just that final recommendation going in. So there was a number of people that just had comments saying only a 4%. It's actually more than that, given the total amount of both phases being implemented.
Thank you. A couple of things I wanted to clear up from what has been said. Our fire attrition rate is down from 17% in 2022 to 11% in 2024. We have 21 recruits in the academy, 21. Police attrition was 19% after COVID in 2021. In 2024, it was down to 13%. We have 4 in the academy, 5 in the pre-academy. So all of our attrition rates are moving in the right direction. In 2023, we did wage studies and increases. That was 2 years ago. If you were a police officer, if that was your wage in class, you got a 9.8% increase. If you were a corporal, you got a 7.7, and if you were a sergeant, you got a 5.8%. That was in 2023. And for this year, what did we do? Was it 3 point something?
3.5, sir.
3.5.
Yes.
3.5 cost of living. So those have gone up. It was said one time there was a reduction in police funding, and people like to throw around the term defunding the police. Well, guess what? What that was the one-time opioid settlement money that had to be reflected in the budget and was used. And this town is the only municipality in the state that in 2023 had a reduction in opioid overdoses, and it's because of our effective partnership with Wake Up Carolina. And people ask, why did this happen? What did we do? Well, this was a market reaction. And next year, the other municipalities will see what we've done and they will raise theirs. And so this will not stop. This is a market thing. And my hope is that we would address our biggest weakness that at least 2 speakers mentioned tonight, that all of these raises, we could raise everybody 15% and you still couldn't afford to live in the town of Mount Pleasant. I think this is why Goose Creek has a $2,400 a year residency stipend. In our case, it would also level out, because if you already live in Mount Pleasant and you're a policeman or a firefighter, we are raising your taxes to give you a raise. So you're paying the town more in taxes, and then we're going to turn around and give you a raise. But if you don't live in the town, you're not getting hit with that tax increase. So we have some inequity there. As you mentioned yesterday in our legal meeting, Mr. Counselor, that this does not preclude looking at this, a future council. There could be 5 new members up here in a month. Looking at ways to get that locality pay, to get that housing assistance pay up there. But nobody up here has ever been opposed to the 4% ever. So don't believe everything you read on social media. And I think everybody is for passing this tonight. Any other? Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And, I am interested in the housing ideas that you've expressed, and I would love to work with you on that in the coming year, because I think there's a great irony in that we have first responders who have retired from other areas, presumably New York and other places, and they're able to afford to retire in Mount Pleasant. But meanwhile, our own first responders who are actively working have no such prayer of doing that. So I think this, you're right. This is not a set it and forget it situation. This is going to be a recurring conflict that we have to make sure that we're fully funding our first responders, and we're investing in the people who keep us safe. But I do think this is a notable step in that direction, and I look forward to voting yes for our police and firefighters.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, sir.
I just like to set the record straight. I never have ever voted not to fund the police and fire. In fact, I voted on the budget that gave an increase in the budget that started July 1. I'm on the fire, police, judicial, legal, and human resource committees, and at each time we've discussed it, I've been very supportive of that. I think people were mistaken when they thought there was a vote on the millage that we were somehow against police and fire. Not at all. We are always for police and fire. We just had a simple, honest disagreement on how we would fund it, period. Second, I thought it was important to have deliberation. And so I spent time between the last meeting and the special meeting, human resource, to dig deep, to really understand it, because I had questions. I mean, clearly, if we're going to spend 5.5 and we want to support police and fire, we really want to look at it carefully and make sure there's no unintended consequences when we do the right thing. So I took a lot of time to look into it, to realize that we had 17 positions that represented 325 employees, that we wanted to make sure that they had the right balance of wages for them. After doing that deliberation and spending really a couple days looking at it, I was very comfortable and voting and seconding the amendment, Jake's motion to pass the 4%. And I look forward to seeing if there's any ways that we can look at it, because quite frankly, the wage survey called for 6. And so there's more room that needs to be made. There's no doubt about it, but it may be a mix of how we go about doing it. And I look forward, and I'm encouraging to do that. But make no mistake, there was no one, and specifically me, since I got pointed out, that was ever against police and fire. Quite the opposite.
All right, are we prepared to vote?
I do
Yes, sir,
ask
Mr.
for
Microphone.
I do ask for one thing with the with the HR committee, and the timing was difficult. We had a compensation study, and it came in, and some numbers with them leaving. I mean, 23 new firemen means that out of 130 something, that's losing some seniority. We've lost a lot of seniority, so we need to make sure that we build that seniority up and we build that longevity up and we take care of our team. I do agree, and I've heard it before, that comp study needs to probably come in. We need to realign how that comp study comes in compared to that tax assessment. It was untimely, but the comp study showed a lot of needs, and I think council is responding to those needs very quickly. Although in the public it may not look that great, but it was needed. The comp study showed it, and we're moving forward with that. So I think it's time that we adjust the comp study to get way ahead of that tax assessment. We know the tax assessment's coming in. It's every 5 years. So if we can adjust those type of things, and with the HR committee can get with Christy, and we can adjust that as well. So I think that would be important, and give everybody a little bit more time as well. So and possibly a step system for our first responders. So obviously everybody knows I'm in favor of this, and I love you guys and gals out there. So hopefully this goes through tonight, and I think it will. So thank you for everybody taking their time to look at it all.
All right. All in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. This moves us to item 10, council new business, discussion and possible action under Robert's Rules of Order regarding breach of decorum by a council member during a council meeting. We have spoken about this, and everybody was on their best behavior tonight, including me, and I think it was great. I simply want the council to understand what the rules of decorum are. As I told some council members today, I don't anticipate anything about this to be punitive, to be any retribution, or to be pointing any fingers. But let's just hear from our parliamentarian what council members can and cannot do under state law, under under town law, and under Robert's rules as briefly as we can, and then let's get on to the resolution.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I will be brief. As all council member knows, there is a hierarchy to control of our meetings, and that starts with state law. Our secondary is town ordinance, and then finally, Robert's Rules covers most procedures. I have provided to council Chapter 43 of Robert's Rules, which discusses generally the elements and basic requirements. Of course, it is up to council to govern and provide compliance with those. And I've also provided Chapter 61, which indicates potential actions that could be taken, and those are several. It starts at the meeting level, and at times where it is necessary for the chair and council to be involved, and then it gets down to the very extreme measures of penalty and punishments, which I will add are almost exclusively governed by state law in the state of South Carolina. Our legislature has provided those mechanisms, and that's generally where the power lies. Mayor, I'm happy to go through it in detail or answer any questions that you all may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions? I would just ask everybody to look at that briefing so that we all know what the rules of decorum are. One way or the other, this council is going to be somehow different next month with Ms. Whitley retiring from her service right now. So let's just make sure that going forward, we all understand, what Robert's rule, because that is by ordinance and that is law. So I don't want to be the only person. It's a lot of burden to know everything about Robert's rules when you're chairing a meeting. And I would like for everybody to be very familiar with that. And if there's no comment, I would like for us to move on to the resolution pledging to practice and promote civility in the town of Mount Pleasant, which everyone received. This comes from the Municipal Association, which I think everybody here has participated in something at the Municipal Association in some way or the other. Is that resolution? Can that resolution be brought up? I know everybody was given a copy of it.
I do have one thing.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, the public came out tonight, and there were some comments obviously against me, and this discussion is obviously pointed towards me. So I think I deserve the right to make a statement. And what I want to say is that at our special council meeting last week, I had witnessed Councilmember Mike Tinkey whispering to Councilmember Gary Santos and writing a large handwritten note that read, "Vote with the mayor." Before I even revealed that note, I could see what was happening, and I told Gary several times to vote his conscience and to make his decision independently. When Councilmember Tinkey then held the note up for Gary to see, I asked for the floor, approached and revealed it so that every member and the public could see what was influencing the discussion. I didn't shout. I didn't insult anyone. I acted to protect the process. Under Robert's Rules of Orders, debate and persuasion must occur openly before the public on the record. Private communications during deliberation are expressly out of order. They violate both decorum and every member's right to exercise independent judgment. It's also worth noting that Mayor, as presiding officer, did not gavel me out of order. Under Robert's rules, that means my actions stood as procedurally valid in the moment. The chair's silence is acknowledgement that my conduct was within the rules. After I exposed the note, Councilmember Tinkey said that I was talking to him. I clarified that I was speaking to Gary, reminding him to vote his conscience. Neither the mayor nor Councilmember Tinkey nor Gary questioned or challenged that clarification at the time. Some have suggested that my action was a breach of decorum, but transparency is not disorder. And disorder is when votes are directed by whispered words or handwritten notes instead of conscience. South Carolina Ethics Reform Act and our shared commitment to open government require us to deliberate in full view of the citizens who elected us. A written instruction with vote with someone else undermines that duty. Reminding a colleague to vote his conscience upholds it. My intent was simple: to ensure the people's business was done in public, free from pressure or choreography. That is what integrity looks like in practice. Uncomfortable perhaps, but essential. As we move forward, I hope we use this as the starting point for a stronger code of conduct, one that makes clear that no private influence, verbal, written, or implied, belongs inside this chamber. Mount Pleasant deserves transparency, independence, and accountability from elected officials. And with that, I will close this discussion. I appreciate the public coming out, but I do feel I have the right, due to it being an agenda item that was brought up against me and for me. So that is why I took this moment to speak. But with that, I would like to.
Those are pretty words.
Yeah.
Those are pretty words, but that's not, in my estimation, correct. And Mr. Pagliarini, is there anything in state law that precludes me from making notes, or as we would deliberate? I've been doing this basically in boardrooms my whole life, international, national, and at this meeting, and I noticed we all make notes and we all talk to each other. Is there anything in state law that precludes me from doing that or sharing with another another committee member?
No, sir.
No, sir. So it is erroneous, the statement that you just said. Could you give me the actual verse in 42 that talks about getting up, moving around, and just and that particular one, I think it's 42.2, or I'll probably be not exactly right on it, but the one that talks about how we could have decorum.
You're referring to the Robert's Rules section that I briefed council on.
Right.
Yes, sir. Chapter 43 relates to a number of items, and they include confining remarks.
Could you read that? Could you read that for the record, please?
Yes, sir. I'll go through to make sure I have the right one for you.
Okay.
Avoiding the use of members' names, refraining from speaking adversely on a prior action not pending, refraining from speaking against one's own motion, reading from reports, quotations without permission. And then I believe, sir, if I'm not mistaken, you're looking at 43.28, which is refraining from disturbing the assembly during debate, during remarks by the presiding officer to the assembly, and during voting. No member should be permitted to disturb the assembly by whispering, walking across the floor, or in any other way. I believe that is the section that you're referring, sir.
I am, and so I would just reflect that, and anybody can look at the deliberations during that time. We all talk to each other. We all are collegial. I've worked very hard. I've worked with Mr. Acafano on a number of issues that we've passed unanimously through our discussions. So, but in fact, he was talking to Gary at some length at that point. And so, I was quite amazed to have somebody get up in a meeting. I thought he was going to the bathroom, but then to come and grab papers off my desk and show them up, I would call that a disruption. I wasn't going to bring it up tonight. I was just going to move forward. And because what I've heard from the populace and folks is they want us to act like adults. And I want to do the same thing. And I respect Mr. Acafano's service and the hard work that he does. We work together on this 4% on the human resources. I also appreciate the fact that we want to work on updates on orientation of board members as far as what conduct should be. I look forward to doing that with you to make sure that everybody is well apprised of what their conduct should and should not be, what is encompassed in that, because I think that's a good thing, not only at the council meeting, but at the commissions. So I take great umbrage with what you said, and I think quite frankly, my actions were within the state law. Yours certainly could be questioned, but I'm willing to put it beside us because they expect us to do that and to work together. So I look forward to working together with you and the future, however short or however long that I'm on council. I look forward to doing that.
I want to thank you both. I think everyone has had their say. I think it's best that we move on. As the chair, I know the rules. I know what I can do if someone is out of order. I chose at that time to let the moment diffuse, which it did, and that's what I'm asking everyone to do now, is to let the moment diffuse. And we all know what the rules are going forward. And if we are all given the opportunity to come back and serve this town, let's all serve it with the dignity that the town of Mount Pleasant deserves. And with that, may we move to the resolution? Do we have a motion that we have done? Yes.
I was going to get up and I would like to get up one time.
Thank you.
We both get up. Okay.
You're both out of order.
Can you bang the gavel?
You're both out of order.
Yeah.
All right. We have the resolution. Can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I would like to make a statement about
Yes, please.
So back in 2017, we had a code of conduct. I signed it shortly after joining council. And there was actually a lot of contentious things happening at that time as well on social media. And I attempted to bring forth an amendment to that code of conduct to guide our actions a little bit more specific way for social media. And I received a lot of pushback from members of this council saying, well, we're all grown-ups and we don't need anything like this. We don't need a code of conduct that's not going to be enforced, and we don't need a code of conduct that and the true test is the voters. right? Like if we do, I think Mr. Rambo, you might have been one of those people that was telling me that. And so it failed. It failed. The amendment to add to social media or to require members of council to sign the code of conduct failed back in 2017. I don't know if we have evolved as a council to where we can adopt this measure of civility. I think if we do, I think it needs to be enforced. And I think that, it's important that it's not going to be me anymore, you guys. And I implore this council, especially as new members come on, that you maintain the collegiality of this, because what you're here for is for the good of the people of Mount Pleasant, for their quality of life, like the splash pad and a variety of things. But that's what you're here for, and that's what you're elected to do. And I think a lot of times we let personal differences get in the way of that, but no one should be voting in a block. No one should be voting in, you vote your conscience. I've never traded a vote with anyone for anything. I have never threatened to change my vote for leverage. I vote my conscience, and I implore all of you to do the same and maintain civility. And you win some, you lose some. You can't hold grudges against council members who disagree with you in their good conscience about things. And I think that would be my ask of all of you, of my fellow council members, as we move forward in this. And I would love to adopt this resolution.
Well, and Ms. Whitley, we talked about the code of conduct minutes before that special council meeting, and HR committee plans on moving forward with that code of conduct. I think probably no better two people to do it than Mike and I. So we've got plenty of stuff we can write down for that code of conduct. And to prove it, I'm going to let Mike buy me a beer tonight.
All right. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is adopted. Passes unanimously. That closes item 10, A2. Item B, old business. There is no council old business items. Item 11 is to adjourn. And Mr. Rambo told me to hit the gavel with power. There you go.